Hey guys, we are back in the kitchen and we are doing our series Baking Yesteryear, which is B. Dylan Hollis's cookbook. And today we are bringing you potato donuts from the 1930s. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take 2 Idaho potatoes and peel them, wash them, chop them up, and put them in water and boil them on the stove until they're soft. And so I've already done that to be able to speed up the video process. And as you can see, I've taken the 2 potatoes that are already cooked and soft in here, and I'm going to use my stand mixer to mash them, because you want to drain them and then you want to mash them. And then we're going to measure out 1 cup of mashed whipped donuts or potatoes, and we're gonna set aside the rest. We don't need that. We only need a cup of drained mashed potatoes. And then we are going to, once we have our cup set aside, we're gonna put that cup of potatoes back in the stand mixer, and we are going to add a fourth of a cup of melted butter to the potato mixture. So I'm allowing my mixer to do the work. You can see the steam coming off the warm potatoes. In the meantime, I have taken a packet of yeast and a fourth a cup of lukewarm water, and I've dissolved the yeast in there and I've let it sit. So I'm gonna set that aside for later in the recipe, but it's sitting there. I'm gonna pull out my potatoes that I've let the stand mixer do the work for me. I'm going to set that aside because I'm going to need that in a minute. And I'm going to get a cup of potato. Use a little knife to press it down. And I don't want to press hard, but you just need a cup. I'm going to measure that off. And there's our cup of potatoes. Set it aside, use a spatula and a bowl to reserve the rest of the potatoes. So I had one really big potato, so I guess it was just too big for the amount. I probably could have used it by itself. Okay, I've got my cup of potato. I'm gonna put it back in my mixing bowl pan. All that in there. I'm gonna add my fourth cup melted butter to the potato. How good does that sound? So I'm gonna set that aside. Put this back on the mixer. And I mix it together very good. Now in the meantime, I've taken 3 farm eggs. Use regular eggs from the store. I've cracked them in this bowl, and I've put 1 1/4 cups sugar, and I've whisked it together just to mix it up. And we're going to add this egg and sugar mixture, 3 eggs, 1 1/4 cups of sugar. We're going to add that to our potato mix. Okay, I've added my eggs and sugar to the potato and butter mixture, and I've just got the mixer on stir. And now we're going to add the yeast that was set aside. And when you do lukewarm water, I just warm mine up in the microwave. Just make sure that you don't use too warm of water because you'll kill your yeast. Okay, I've added the yeast, and it says to just stir it, so I'm going to allow it to stir. In the meantime, in this bowl, I have my dry ingredients, which consist of 4 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, and a full teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, and then in this container, I've set aside buttermilk, 3/4 cup of buttermilk, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, but you know me, I put in a little extra vanilla extract because I love it. So I think these are gonna have a great flavor with the nutmeg. So I did all the dry ingredients in this bowl and kind of sifted them together so it's all mixed. And we're gonna set that aside while we continue to stir our yeast just a little bit. So I'm going to stop this now. I've switched to a different attachment instead of whisk, and I'm going to alternate adding my dry ingredients to the liquid mixture in the bowl. So I'm going to take about 1/2 cup at a time, and I'm going to allow the mixer to stir it. I'll do another 1/2 cup. Add that in there. And I'm going to alternate adding the buttermilk mixture. Just a little bit at a time. So some more of the dry ingredients. More of the buttermilk. It's getting a little thicker. We're going to enjoy having homemade donuts. The dough smells pretty good. I love the nutmeg in it. It's perfect for these nice fall afternoons. Bit in there. Get the rest of my buttermilk. Okay. Very pretty dough. I'm going to stop it. Clean my paddle off. I'll let you see kind of what the dough looks like. And then we're going to cover it with a soft kitchen cloth that's clean and let it rise just on the counter for an hour. And we'll be back once the dough has risen. Okay, it's been about an hour. And our dough has risen and set, covered under a cloth, and I've liberally floured my surface here, my counter surface. And I have a donut cutter, a metal one. I have no idea where it is, so I'm going to use just a small glass, and these are going to be just round donuts, no hole in the middle. And I've rolled out my dough, which is gorgeous and smells wonderful, by the way. And I've rolled it out to about 1/2 inch thickness on the counter. And I've got oil heating in a pan on the stove. So I'm cutting just little round donuts, this, and I'm gonna fry them in small batches. And it's gonna take anywhere from, I don't know, about 2 to 4 minutes. You want your oil about 375 degrees. I'm just going to continue cutting little round donuts, and we're going to take them over, and I'm going to place a small amount. Now over here, I've made cinnamon sugar mixture, just sugar and cinnamon mixed together. And then I have powdered sugar here, and I've done a wire rack covered with paper towel to be able to put the donuts out on. So I'm gonna actually move that closer to my pan so that I don't spill oil across the floor. And I'm gonna put a donut in the oil. Again, small batches. My oil's nice and hot. I can hear it popping. I'm doing small batches. You can hear it, as a matter of fact. And you're just gonna fry until they're light brown. Again, it should only take about 2 to 4 minutes. I'm gonna turn them. I've got a little, oh, these are gorgeous. I'm gonna kind of take out the first one I put in. Turning them the whole time. Turn my oil down just a bit. And before they cool, while they're still warm, we're gonna coat them with the powdered sugar or the cinnamon sugar, whichever you prefer. So while those are sitting for a minute, I'm gonna grab a few more donuts. You've got to kind of move quickly here with the oil. So you only want to put about 4 or 5 in there. And be careful so that the oil doesn't pop you when you drop them down in there. And you can see, they're kind of hard. Nice donuts. Turn them. Get these out. With no donut hole, I guess you could jelly fill these if you wanted. I'm going to take one of the first ones that's come out. I've got a powdered sugar duster. That while it's still hot. I'm going to roll a couple of these in my cinnamon sugar while they're still warm. You can see this is a bit messy. The house smells wonderful. And we're going to try a nice warm donut here. Mmm. Absolutely delicious. Try these at home. And come to the library and check out Baking Yesteryear. Thanks for joining us.